A brief message from your friendly neighborhood editing Jordan. We tend to try to keep things pretty PG-13 around here, but this is an improv podcast. So, who knows what we're going to say. Sometimes we throw in some swearing, some sexual content, and some violence. So, as a general warning, viewer discretion is advised. Also to be noted, the opinions stated about a certain tabletop role-playing game are just that, our opinions. We love the game and we like talking about it. So, any criticisms are really just all in good fun. That being said, wizards, please hire us. All right, with that out of the way, let's get on with the show.
Clank, clank, clank.
So true.
Ready? Let's do a Duke Nukem. Are you ready? Dun 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 dun.
Did he turn off his brain again?
Nice 2024 PHB.
Dun 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 dun.
Too bad I'm not reading it.
Yeah.
But we are. We're continuing to do
We
so.
are. We're not based like Duke Nukem.
I don't know how to read, so I'm unfortunately going to need somebody else to read it to me.
That's the side effect of microwaving your brain.
Yeah. We're subjecting ourselves to the pain of reading this, unlike the very intelligent Duke Nukem, who would never do such a thing.
The audience is going to have to live without the context about me microwaving my own brain cells.
It did happen. We're not telling you how.
We
Moments
watched
ago.
it happen.
It was pretty funny. Hey everybody, welcome to the Nat One Podcast, aka Nope, because nope, you're not gonna want to hear what we're about to have to say. I'm Pertuset.
I'm Levi.
And I'm Jordan.
But in any case, we have 4 new classes to discuss since last time we were here. They may not all be in this episode. Probably not unless we get through it really quickly. But we're going to go through Monk, Cleric, Bard, Soccer. That's you, Jordan.
Soccer.
That's you.
You're welcome.
And we're going in the order that they got released. So we'll be starting with Monk
Monking!
today.
Aaron's so happy.
I was about
am
to say
very happy.
we have our resident expert,
Our resident
two-time,
monkey.
3-time, excuse me, Monk veteran.
3?
I'm stupid. No, 2-time.
It's 2.
It's 2.
Where'd the third come from?
It's 2. I'm just crazy.
Crazy.
Played
I
the
was
third
crazy
one
once.
in my mind.
I just associate you so heavily with Monk, Taran.
Considering the knockdown, drag-out fights we've had over the class before, it is the Taran class.
Legit, like I'm not even memeing when I say that. Legitimately, like when I think of D&D and Taran and put them together, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Monk class.
Oh, it's like that game. What's it, like Infinite Crafter or something like that?
Yeah, where you put Taran and D&D together and you
It
get
comes
Monk.
out Monk, yeah.
Because
I was like,
it
Doodle
is
God.
it is one of my favorite flavored classes, but it sucks so bad in 5e.
But
But
not in
Rogue is worse.
2024.
Not in 2024. It's actually very good.
Which is a shame that it's good.
Yeah.
Because 2024 is overall quite mid so far.
It's not even that it's mid. It's just it's insanely hit and miss.
Yes, that's what I mean. Is there's
massive hits
very
or-
good and very bad, which pulls it all to the center,
Yeah.
which is
Extreme
mid.
highs and extremely
Yes.
low lows.
Yeah. So strange.
Mm.
You Tommy Wiseau.
But yeah, we've got Monk pulled up in front of us.
You do?
You guys didn't get your complimentary Monk from Wizards of the Coast?
They're right here. Oh!
No, the
Pertuset's
Antichrist
being
won't
assaulted
send
by
you
his,
out.
apparently.
Yeah.
Mine's quite docile.
Mine is sitting here using that one feature that makes them in the frightened or charmed condition on themselves. They're doing that every 6 seconds, and it's terrifying me. Stillness of mind. How could I forget?
You know who else forgot about stillness of mind?
Oh.
Level 1. We got some changes.
So, as we normally do this, which is we all usually read a couple features. Taran, I think you should start us off because you're the Monk boy.
Right. So, level 1, the normal thing for monks is they get bonuses to unarmed strikes. So for 2024, they upped the starting damage die from D4 to D6, and it now goes up to D12. Great change, just gives more DPS.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they get simple weapon proficiency plus proficiency in any martial weapons that have the light property, which is just good.
I like that. It's also interesting, but I like
Mhm.
that.
And they can also use dex on grapple and shove checks instead of strength, which is just good because that makes monks less mad, more sad. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a monk in my other D&D group recently that really loves to grapple, and because they're a monk, they have to use like they have higher dex, but they have to use strength, and so they don't always do that well, and the barbarian ends up outshining them on that, which is
Mhm.
fine. But in some way, you think of grapple and you think of like holds. All this to say, he ended up choking a priest to death. But anyway. That's level 1.
Was that in Curse of Strahd?
Yeah.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Amazing.
It was not the priest you think it would be.
No.
Oh.
Nope. It was the one in Barovia.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
But why? No, I can't. We don't have time to get into that
I
right
can
now.
tell you later. I'll
After,
tell you.
after.
This is the same player that played Dixie Normus.
I mean,
Iconic. Enough said.
considering this is a D&D podcast, if you're a D&D person who knows what Curse of Strahd is, you probably know who the priest in Barovia is. So everyone else at home also probably at the same time went, but why?
And you'll never know. But anyway. So yeah, that's martial arts. That's all those features fall under martial arts normally, and they do again now fall under martial arts. When you hit level 1 monk, you get all those features. Which it's crazy. When I think about it like that, it makes the dipping into a monk at level 1 sound really good because you get a lot of stuff. But I suppose a lot of that's really mostly niche. Yeah. I don't see how else you'd really use that dip. But anyway. Then we get the next one.
Okay. So for level 2, they get Monk's Focus, which is just a replacement for key points. So instead of key points like we had in 5th, it's now focus points. It's literally just a name change on that. Don't know why they did that, but whatever. But big change for this is 2 of the features from before with monks were that patient defense and step of the wind are 2 features that were in 5th edition monk that let you use a bonus action and some key points to take disengage or dash or dodge as a bonus action, but now it doesn't cost key points. Instead, you can later on these get improved if you use key points, and there's also some other things. So with patient defense, you can disengage and dodge as the same bonus action whenever you spend a key point on it or focus point. And then using a focus point for Step of the Wind, you get disengage and dash as part of the same bonus action, and it also doubles your jump distance for that turn as well, which is just good. So it's essentially like doing insane stuff to your movement, which is just good. And then they also get Uncanny Metabolism at level 2, which is a really good feature, which I really like, is you get all of your expended focus points back whenever you roll initiative once per long rest, and you get hit points equal to monk level and a roll of your martial arts die on the start of combat once per long rest, which I think is just a really good feature.
Yeah, I think I mean, you mentioned Taran, and basically it's just a bunch of buffs to like your movement and mobility, and I think that's a good step in the right direction because monks are supposed to be fast and slick with it.
Yeah, which that's one of the big things that I complained a lot about for 5th edition monks is that it's really stupid that they have to spend key points on bonus action dash. I thought that was really stupid for 5th edition, and I'm really glad they changed it for this. So
I do really like the change for patient defense because I feel like no one ever used patient defense for anything ever.
nope, never.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is going to make it be used a lot more. A lot more.
Yeah, being able to disengage and dodge is just so good.
Yes. And it's also going to make the monks a lot more slippery. This is going to make it so that monks know also which you still probably want to do it a little bit, but it is also, again, de-incentivizing mad for monk because this is giving you a lot less reason to want to pump your con heavily because you still probably should put some in con, but now you don't need to be like matching your fighter with 20 con.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot more stuff that's like, well, they're probably just not going to hit you. They're probably just going to miss now.
Yeah, because and it's we'll get into features with it later, but a lot of the changes that they have made monks into more of a dodge tank, which I think is very, very cool. And
that makes more sense.
What it should
a
be.
lot more in character for the class.
Yeah, and like a lot of these changes are more than just flavor; they're just actually good now as well.
They're good and they double up as flavor too, which is really telling that, wouldn't you know it, leaning into the flavor of the class
Who would have
makes
thought?
it better.
Never could have guessed that.
Oh, but I digress.
Eat your heart out, Rogue, is all I have to say about this. Why would you ever play a Rogue when you can simply play a Monk?
True, honestly.
You get the same
Once
effects,
again,
but better.
Once
They
again,
get bonus action dodge.
the persistent problem that I think this has been a problem D&D has almost had forever is it is kind of difficult to make every class entirely unique, and sometimes certain classes are just better at things than other ones are. So why would you be that class if you're going to focus on that thing? So yeah.
You know how people complain about how between Sorcerer and Warlock, those shouldn't be two separate classes sometimes? Sometimes I feel like that about Monk and Rogue when I read their stuff.
Honestly, I can see it. Just have like the two paths of subclass.
If there was one change that I would make for like D&D class-wise is I would sit the wizards board down, like a sweeping change. I would sit the decision makers down and be like, we have to cut a class. Pick one.
Yeah,
because I think that okay, that
true, real. Get that out of here.
In my opinion,
okay,
in my opinion, it would be sorcerer. Sorcerer would go.
Well, I like the new changes, and you'll get to see those in a bit. But there are some really interesting changes that make it unique among the casters.
But yeah, there are just a lot of things that either they need to sit down and take a long look at them and be like, how can we make these classes unique from each other, and feel very different from each other, and not impede too heavily on each other there. But again, that is also hard when you've got something like a rogue and a monk whose archetypes in fiction have kind of been set up as they're both supposed to be quick and they're both supposed to be like nimble fighters wise. But at the same time, the game has existed for how long now, and there's been so many iterations of both
50.
classes that I feel like it shouldn't be too hard to find big differences and separations between them at this point.
Well, yeah,
especially since Rogue came first.
The main difference between them is Rogue is supposed to be more for damage, and Monk is supposed to be more for mobility and defense. But they're not doing that for some reason for Rogue. So
doesn't Monk get more than one attack? Sorry, continue, Pertuset.
Yeah. You know how when we were talking about the Ranger one, which is stupid, bad, and awful, and no one liked it?
Yeah.
Except Dylan. But
except our resident ranger,
yeah,
who changed his tune after initially being the boy who cried wolf to us, and then all of us hated it.
Yeah.
But then he was like, I've looked at it again and I don't feel as bad about it anymore. And then all of us were like, what?
Yeah.
It's awful.
Mhm.
We went on a very public rampage about it in your
Yeah.
honor.
Yeah.
Recall how in that I immediately proffered the idea of like you essentially get the damage from Hunter's Mark on your favorite enemy and thus keep the flavor as well as the extra damage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do that as well, at least for Monk. I may continue to do it for other classes of things I think about that would fix the issue without it cannibalizing the rogue's abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Patient Event, Step of the Wind, keep them they were in 5e. However, instead of monks getting their wisdom modifier added to their AC, give them half their monk level rounded down to their AC.
Oof.
Ooh,
That would be cool.
I dig it.
You can't multi-class monk to get that benefit anymore because guess
True.
what? You'd be level
That's
1 or 2
cool.
and
Yeah,
only get
that
1
would
point.
be really cool.
And now they're also the dodge tank still because if you max them out, you get plus 10. And if you have max dex,
Yeah.
that's 25 AC.
Yeah.
I dig that. That's cool.
Mhm.
Anyway, that's Pertuset's fix-it
That's not-
corner.
That's not 25 AC if you have max dex. That's because they get unarmored defense.
Yeah,
Oh,
like-
true. That's like
Is
busted.
it
I love it.
27?
something
I
like
don't know.
that.
And that encourages you to fully complete the class, which they were trying to do with this edition. And so far, they've yet to really fix that at all in anything I've seen.
Yeah.
Some things encouraged multi-classing, which
I
had
feel like
conflicting
they-
I think the level 20 ability actually does kind of fix that.
What I was going to say is I feel like they did it a lot better for Fighter and Barbarian. I feel like those ones they really incentivized go 1 to 20 with because they gave them a lot of cool abilities for like their damage dice and stuff. But everything else I think has felt like they've been kind of milquetoast on it and just dipped their toes in it a little bit, even if at all.
They've minimized
milk
doing
toast.
like 17-3 splits, but I don't
Yeah.
think they've undone doing like 8-12 or 10-10
Mm.
splits.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Which, I mean, I haven't watched any like long form videos of them talking about multi-classing specifically. I don't know if there's anything they've mentioned in length about multi-classing except for them just in passing being like, yeah, we want to minimize it. But that could be what they mean when they say we want to minimize multi-classing is maybe they want to minimize dipping, but they still want to allow large multi-classing like an 8-12 split. Maybe that is what they're trying to go for. I don't know.
maybe I'm going
Which-
to now take it as a personal challenge to do as many 3-3-3-3-3s as I can just to get the
There you
subclasses.
go.
Yeah.
I will
TJ
also say
began
though,
this trend. TJ.
I don't understand soapbox for a moment. I don't understand why they're so averse to multi-classing because why are you allergic to fun and flavor?
Hmm.
What is wrong with you?
Well, I think part of the reason that they've kind of taken a little bit of a stance against it is what I just mentioned of like the dipping. I feel like, in my opinion, when I think of if I didn't have knowledge of how multi-classing worked in D&D and I was just being told like, oh, you can actually be 2 classes at the same time, I would think of like a half and half split between the abilities of both classes, not I dip into Paladin for 2 levels to get Smite and I'm 18 levels of Bard. Which is something that is frequently done in 5e, or like I'm 2 levels of Paladin and 18 levels of Warlock, because that also works. Because really, you're not really a Paladin. You're just a Warlock who has Paladin abilities. If you're going that far with it. So again, yeah, that's where I'm kind of like logicking it to is they're trying to incentivize more of an even split between classes rather than a very lopsided split between classes.
It's difficult. They don't have a position that I particularly envy other than being a paycheck thief, but on one hand, they want to make the game as fun as possible for the most amount of people, but on the other hand, they also need to make it balanced so that way you have a reason to play all the different content. And that is a little hard.
I do feel like this 5.5 2024 PHB has focused a lot more on the G in RPG than the RP.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They've leaned, I think, the axis a little heavily to one side, and that has taken away from it in other people's eyes. And it is hard to strike that balance, but at the same time, we sit here every episode and talk about things that we think are good ideas that maybe they could try to implement. So I don't know, maybe it's not that hard. I don't know. We hire us, bring us on your team,
Hire us, wizards.
get us in there. We'll fix it.
I struggle with the anti-multi-class thing just because I am a flavor first kind of player, and
Which
so with
that's
the
fair too.
moving away from the RP, like I'm not necessarily building my class to be the most optimized, but more to like barbarian cleric is not a good multi-class objectively. Absolutely not narratively. It's fucking great, but build wise, it's terrible. So I don't know. I think that it's kind of stupid to be like, no, this is the wrong way to play the game. Screw you. Story is better than function.
90% of my criticism would be completely alleviated from Wizards if they would just put all of the old editions on online format so everyone would have all access to them at all times, because then I could just be like, well, I don't like it, so I can just go play the other version of the game. But the most accessible version of the game is 5e, which is the one that's on D&D Beyond, and so that's why my criticism is a lot more heavy laden when it comes to changes that they're making to 5e. But put 4e, put 3.5e, it would be horrible and no one would probably barely ever play it except like very, very old Gen Xers. But put 2e and 1e on there as well and just let the people play which version they want to play, and then like half your community's criticism would evaporate, Wizards.
This is true.
Again, with the amount of source books that came out with 3.5, they would make so much money from selling those for like $5 each.
Yeah.
Because there are quite literally thousands of books and supplements to that game that are just going unused.
Not to mention the community written stuff that they could absolutely license and put up on there.
And they could make so much money by selling them for $10 each. I mean, why wouldn't you sell them for $15 each? It would just be $20 each.
Mm-hmm.
That's the G-based. Let's see the P-based one. Or the second T.
Anyways, the long tangent where this is gonna have to be a 2 and 2.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Okay,
somebody
deflect
put a
attacks.
timestamp. Put a timestamp for when we stopped yapping.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where's
Okay.
deflect attacks? Where are we? Oh, level 3.
Level 3.
Goody.
Yeah. So this is the best change to the class that I think is what's going to set this as the tanking role for marshals at the very least, is instead of deflect missiles, which was a frank not good ability in the slightest, like at all, whenever in 5e it was just not good. They have deflect attacks now. So at level 3, you get to reduce the damage of any attack that includes bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage by 1d10 plus dexterity modifier plus monk level. And you can redirect the attack with a focus point if you reduce the damage to 0. So that's just better because it was exclusive to ranged attacks before in 5e. But now it's all attacks. And it gets better at a later level at what is it? Level 13, where it changes from just the physical damage types to all damage types. So you can just reduce damage to yourself constantly, just making you infinitely better at tanking, even if you like
By the end of the game, that's a minimum of 26 reduced
Yes.
damage every time. If you're playing a 1 to 20. Some people don't play 1 to 20, but
yeah, it's minimum of 26.
maximum of 35.
Like it's just fantastic. It is a great ability, and I'm very, very happy with that.
Eat your heart out, Rogue. Uncanny dodge.
That's
I'm looking
exactly
at.
what I was thinking.
Uncanny
No
dodge.
more
You get at
uncanny
level
dodge.
5. It does.
And evasion kind of gets
Hey,
kicked in the
uncanny
face a
dodge
little
can't.
bit.
Uncanny dodge can technically be better than this in certain circumstances, since this has rolled dice going in with it. But
Yeah.
it is
Would you say
probably
the minimum was
it's probably
high level 26?
it's probably statistically going to be better.
So an enemy would
than
have to
uncanny
do 52 or more damage in one attack for uncanny dodge for it to be better than this. Oh, also you get this at level 3 and uncanny dodge at level 5.
True.
Yeah,
That
you get
is
this
a
at-
little.
Get this at level 3, and you can also just redirect the attacks that
Which
come from this if you
Candy
reduce it.
Dodge can't do.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, you can redirect the damage.
Which I think that is okay though, because rogues are not meant to be a tanky class.
Oh, I would agree. Now
rogues just need better things in general. But
Yeah, that doesn't mitigate the fact that rogues need a buff, but it does mitigate the fact that it's just rogues bad in this version.
yeah.
Hey, was it very good in 5e either?
True.
Well, let's see what the people on Reddit have to say.
Oh, true.
Oh.
They know what's up.
Yeah, they're
Anyway.
always right.
They're always
Yeah,
correct.
they're always correct. Like
What else?
especially in the fact that paladins are now the worst class in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
think
rogues
they've
are so
way
gotten.
too
stupid
hard.
and busted and broken, right?
I think
Yeah.
the outcry has they've gotten done with that now. I haven't seen very many people talking about Paladin much
Mhm.
more on the
Yeah.
subreddits since then.
Uh,
They got their fit out.
What else?
Mhm.
What else happens at level 3 turn? Tell us quickly before I get more upset.
Subclass. Okay, so the subclasses that they kept from
Wait.
5e. What?
What are they called now?
Oh yeah, they're warriors. So you're a warrior of.
I can
I think
understand
it's-
changing key to focus. I
Mhm.
can
I
understand
don't.
that better
I
than
don't
way
like it.
of.
Yeah.
I don't understand, like, because warrior sounds more fightery. It doesn't
Mm.
Yeah.
sound monk to
Mm.
me.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And way I think sounded monkey.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, it did.
Monkey.
You know,
Monkey.
a lot of these
Yeah.
changes have been received well, but I do gotta say really quickly, is anybody else noticing that they released like one UA and that has basically been the 2024 book, and they came out with this like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
all these changes have been the exact same from that UA. Anyway, just telling you, they were paid for like 2 years.
Paycheck weeks.
just telling you.
Wizards,
Hmm.
quit paying them. Pay us.
Yeah.
But subclasses they kept were warrior of open hand, warrior of the elements, warrior of shadow, and warrior of mercy.
Oh my
Which
god, it's your favorite.
Which warrior of mercy I think is actually good in this version.
That's what you said the last time, Taran.
But the
See, it's funny
difference
that you say that, Taran, because the first thing it says is this subclass is largely
I know.
unchanged.
That's my point, though, is the reason why I did not have a fun time with it in 5e was because Monk was bad, not because the subclass was bad.
Taran's in an abusive
Okay.
relationship with the Way of Mercy subclass. for
Terran's in an
monks.
abusive relationship with the monk class.
Terran's
Terran-
has a
Yeah.
relationship with D&D.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's his dice mostly to do with
I-
it.
So,
Oh.
okay. Warrior of the Elements. The changes to that are way too complicated for us to actually cover in a
There's a
single
lot.
episode. They
They
overhauled
released
it
an
entirely.
entire thing about it.
Yes.
Yeah, it got its own
there's an
article.
insane amount of changes to that. So we'll just skip that for now. Open hand, it only blocks opportunity attacks rather than all reactions because they had a thing before that was blocking reactions on them. I don't remember exactly how it worked, but yeah. Wholeness of body has been moved to a bonus action instead of, I think it was an action before. I'm not sure. And now it heals number of hit points equal to martial arts die plus whiz modifier rather than 3 times monk level, but you can now use it a number of times equal to wisdom modifier per long rest other than just once. So it's
Second
less
wind.
yeah, it is just second wind.
They turned it to
It-
second wind.
Wholeness of body was an action.
Yeah, okay. New fleet step feature allows you to use Step of the Wind as part of any bonus action that wasn't already used to perform Step of the Wind, and Quivering Palm was rebalanced. But Step of the Wind first. With that, because there is a feature that was in Tasha's, we've not seen it for some reason, but they've talked about it and it's in there, is there was a feature from Tasha's that was an optional feature that whenever you use a key point during your turn, you can make a bonus action unarmed strike, they changed that entirely so you can always make bonus action unarmed strikes. That means that you can attack and bonus action dash on the same turn without using anything with bonus actions. So that's just great. Quivering Palm does less damage now for less key points. Which is, I think, a good change because previously it was an instant kill if they failed the DC.
I like.
So now
that,
it
though. That was
just
fun.
does. It is fun, but it was a little bit unbalanced.
Levi, change it. I want it to instantly kill again.
I mean, it is a level 17
It is.
I mean,
in
it.
Vulcan Death Punch.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how.
And
I
you
feel
have to
about that
fail a
one.
DC too. You have to fail. It's
Yeah.
not like you instantly killed them.
That is fair.
maybe I would just have it maybe drop them to 1.
How
That makes
about
sense.
-1? Then we'll talk.
So true.
One failed death save.
Mm-hmm. Herm.
Yeah.
Yerp. Anyway,
I'm gonna have it drop them to -1 imaginary.
So
Dr.
true.
Ratio chalk attack to the stomach.
Okay. Warrior of Mercy, basically unchanged. They reclassified it as magic rather than innate, whatever. That makes it technically slightly worse, but whatever. It doesn't really matter that much because how often are you actually running against anti-magic stuff? But Warrior of Shadow
That's
is
me,
literally just better assassin rogue.
guys. Warrior of Shadow. That's me. I can be a VTuber stan in D&D.
So true.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Warrior of Shadow, you can cast Darkness and Minor Illusion on yourself and move within the field of darkness you create, meaning that you just have free, you just give free disadvantage on all attacks to you constantly whenever you're in darkness. You can see through magical darkness, which is an insane ability for a lot of things because barely anybody actually gets that. There's also the entire thing of the Shadow Step feature, which let you teleport whenever you're in dim light or darkness. You can now just spend a key point to ignore the dim light or darkness thing and make an unarmed strike after you teleport on the same bonus action. So you can just teleport anywhere
So
for
it's like
free
Blink, but
and
better.
hit. Yes. There's that Cloak of Shadow at level 17. Wreathe yourself in shadows. Effect lasts for 1 minute until you're incapacitated or end your turn in bright light. While it's active, you're just permanently invisible for that entire minute. And you can use Flurry of Blows without spending any key points. And you can move through occupied spaces, which I think would probably include walls, but that is a DM ruling. But
Yeah.
still, like, that's just really good. So this just makes you better at hiding than a rogue,
And
I hate it
mobility.
here.
better at
Yes.
stealth than a rogue.
You don't get expertise, stupid idiot.
So they've
Yeah.
proven they can
get
build
Rogues are
invisible.
supposed to be
speedy
rogues aren't supposed to be stealthy. They're supposed to be
class.
skill monkeys, guys.
I
They're
don't
supposed
care
to
if
be
you
skill.
can
They're
become
supposed to be skill
invisible, actually,
monkeys.
and rogues can't. But
Rogues
we
aren't known
have
for
expertise.
stealth. Since when have rogues been known for stealth? You guys are crazy. They're known for having several skills.
Envenom. I'm
Yeah.
gonna envenom you for 66.
And also now you have to
I hit.
sacrifice part of your damage to get any of your new funny effects.
Hey, listen, you're not gonna be laughing so hard whenever I envenom my blade and hit you with a sneak attack, except I missed and I'll have to wait another turn to do it. Anyway,
But I'm standing right in front of you, so you're absolutely gonna kill me before I get to try to kill you again.
Literally, that criticism could listen to us, wizards. Listen. Pertuset's entire
Please.
criticism with that could be alleviated if you just did what you did to Paladin, which is give rogue 2 attacks, but keep it so that they can only get sneak once.
Give them 2 attacks, or just give them the ability to
Just
go
double their
invisible
chance of hitting
or
that
anything.
sneak.
Now
Because
here's the
that
crazy
gives
thing.
advantage.
Here's the crazy thing, right? Is they're one step ahead of you a little bit, Levi? Because even if you multi-class rogue, after you get an extra attack from fighter or something, right? It still says in the description, you can only sneak attack once per turn.
Mm-hmm.
So they got the restriction. They just don't have the part that you're looking for in the
Just
other
give
part.
rogues 2 attacks.
No, that belongs to
Please.
marshals. What do you think
Every
those are?
marshal has 2 attacks.
Nuh-uh, do
And
rangers
Except
have
for
one?
rogue.
Rogues are marshal. Actually,
No,
Yes.
Rangers are
too?
spellcasters. Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Rangers
Rangers are
are
spellcasters
half-casters.
now.
Rangers are
Pertuset.
full casters.
And
Oh,
they get
yeah.
extra attack.
Yeah,
I hate it
and they
here.
do get extra
Now, do
attack.
paladins get extra attack?
Yes, they.
Well, what about bards, huh?
What
They
do the
do,
subclasses
depending
do?
on which
Yeah.
subclass they
do?
are. Yeah,
I hate
why
the
would
ones
you
that
not-
the ones that don't focus on being full
hate
casters,
it.
even though they still get to be full casters.
What, they
Yeah,
get ninth
they're-
level spells?
Yes.
Yeah, there is not a single rogue. No, Swatch got extra attack. That's it.
No,
Nope.
we don't.
Did they? Did
No,
they
it
not? I
didn't.
thought they did.
Nope.
Swatch does
Rogues
not
don't
have an
get
extra attack.
attack
You
at
That is
Mandela
my
yourself on that
criticism
one.
about
That's
Swatch.
why.
I'm
That's one of the
pissed.
main reasons Jordan's multi-classing in our campaign we're playing right now is to get
Yes.
that from fighter.
Because
Yeah,
I
that's-
need it.
There's not a single
That's
rogue subclass
insane.
that gets it.
That's absurd.
Anyway,
If anything, Swash should get it. Like, I don't care if anybody else. I do care if anybody else gets it. Swash needs an extra attack. I'm standing right there. I'm gonna die.
Well, Swashbuckler's for multi-classing, Jordan. We just don't want you to do that.
this whole episode
Yeah,
is
that's
gonna be
illegal.
talking about how the monk is a better rogue now, huh?
It is though, and I
Mhm.
don't like it.
Well, I mean, can you
See,
blame
I
us,
don't
though?
think it's. I don't think it's a better rogue. It's just a better class in general.
It's
for
a better
the things
class
that it's supposed to
and
be doing.
It's a
I don't
better
know-
class, and
well,
it has rogue features.
it can
Yeah.
fill the niche that rogue is supposed to be.
Mm.
Is the thing. Like, it is definitely better, and it's better at being a monk, but it also, because of that overlap that they have, has
Yeah,
now
It's better
by
at being a
happenstance,
D&D rogue.
rogue.
it is better at being rogue as well than a rogue is.
But we get expertise, so screw you, and I'm gonna persuade you to suck your mum. Oh, it's minging. Anyway,
but rogues do so much damage on sneak attack. It's so unfair.
it's
If they
okay.
get it, they do.
I
It's
know where
okay.
you sleep.
We're going to
Uh.
go now to the most broken part of Monk and the reason DMs pee themselves when someone says they're going to play Monk. There it is.
Stunning
That's right, Stutter Strike.
Which I actually really like the change that they made to Stunning Strike as well, because I think it makes it more balanced.
I
and-
Well, tell us what it is.
Okay, so Stunning Strike requires the use of a monk weapon or unarmed strike, and if successfully applied, stunning condition now ends at start of your next turn rather than the end, which, yeah, that whatever. But you can only use Stunning Strike once per turn. I think that is a good change because it makes Stunning Strike way less oppressive because you can't just spam it over and over again if you are fighting multiple enemies or if you didn't hit the first one, which Stunning Strike actually wasn't overpowered in 5th edition at all because it's still a maximum of 19 on a saving throw, which most endgame creatures especially are likely to succeed on, but that's a
Or
different
will
subject.
just have legendary resistance.
So there's that. But another change that they made to help with this, though, since you can't use it multiple times per turn, is if they succeed on the saving throw, their speed is still halved until the end of your next turn, and the next attack made against them is done so with advantage. I just really like that there is still like a fail condition and it's not just succeed or die.
You think you're so cool.
Yes.
Well, rogues get this, but even better
Uh-huh.
by sacrificing 66 damage and after hitting and meeting the conditions for sneak attack to make the opponent incapacitated if they fail a saving throw afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you,
Burn.
stunned creatures get advantage whenever you attack them, but incapacitated don't. but
And also you get all of your damage on the
Uh,
attack still too, if you're a monk.
Yeah.
Guys, rogues are so busted.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and they only get that feature at like level something in the 10s, and this is at level 5. Anyway, next one, Taran.
Okay.
I'm
Another cool
done with
thing.
this class. Please kill me.
We're not. We're like halfway through. We're not
We
even
spent an
halfway
entire
through.
hour on this one.
This might be a 1 in 3. This might be. This might be just
No.
the monk episode.
I may have thoughts when it comes to cleric. This is gonna be
The
bad.
2024 monk incident is what I'm
Yeah.
calling this.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
what I'm
so
calling this episode.
so the next feature is Empowered Strike, which is replacing Key Empowered Strike from 5th edition,
Yeah.
which that turns your unarmed strike damage into magical bludgeoning, I think. But this turns it into force damage, which I think is just really cool.
Which is also still magical.
Oh,
Yes.
indubitably.
It's magical and it's just better for resistances.
So.
Now Pertuset. No,
Yeah.
no, sorry, no, Taran. Pertuset's not mad at you.
I know.
He's just
He's
mad
He's
because
mad at
your-
Rogue.
He's mad because your class got its much needed buff and his didn't when his has a
Yeah,
much needed
yeah.
buff as well.
Yeah.
Although
yeah,
now you
yeah.
forever lose the argument about which class is worse.
Oh,
If
I'm
we're
not
talking about
denying that, but I'm
2024
perfectly fine with that.
PHP, yeah.
Well,
I'm
Ranger
perfectly
actually
fine with
still
that
loses
because
the
I
total
won.
on that one.
True.
But you're
Uh,
telling me now that if I hit my sneak attack after attacking one time and meet the conditions for it, but it does the same type of damage as my weapon, which is non-magical piercing, and the creature is resistant to non-magical piercing or immune, it takes half or 0 damage all the way until level 20. But at level 5, yours is going to do force damage?
That nobody's immune to?
Okay.
or resistant.
Just so we're on the same page.
Oh.
This is the
Okay,
bad place.
You can
Next
continue.
change, heighten focus. Flurry of Blows gains an additional attack, so
Oh,
it's
really
3
now?
attacks on a bonus action.
Well, shoot.
I'm gonna
Next.
start hurting people.
It just
Next.
keeps getting better, which is making it worse.
So next, Patient Defense gives you temp hit points based on your martial arts die.
Okay,
Meaning-
so extra survivability.
Yeah, extra survivability and a maximum of 24 extra hit points.
Well, so long as they didn't do anything to Step of the Wind, I'll be okay.
Next, Step of the Wind. You can move. You can move one willing creature that's large or smaller along with you until the end of your next turn, and doesn't provoke opportunity attacks when you do. So you can just move people with you with your ridiculous move speed as well.
Ooh.
So you basically have the martial equivalent of Dimension Door at level 10.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
I
all
want
you
to
get.
go home.
Right? That's all. That's all. Just all that, right?
Also at level 10, you get self-restoration, letting you avoid levels of exhaustion that you would normally accumulate going without food and water. And at the end of your turn, and Charmed, Frightened, or Poisoned condition in yourself.
Okay,
So
but
it's
you
just-
can only do that like so many times per day, right?
No, it's free entirely. And also, it doesn't cost anything now, like it used to.
You can just do it.
You can just do it. It's a free
No
action.
restrictions, no
I hate it
limitations.
here.
You get it
Mhm.
forever. And there's no cap.
That might be, but do you know what rogues get around this level? Slippery mind. I get proficiency in wisdom saving throws. Which the monk has at level 1.
Oh my god. Oh. Okay, we already talked about deflect energy, where it changes deflect attacks to allow you to reduce damage of any damage type.
Yep.
It's just good. Perfect Focus is what used to be the level 20 feature for Monk is now at 15, which is if you roll initiative and you're below 4 focus points, you regain enough focus points to bring you back to 4, as long as you don't use the other Uncanny Metabolism feature, which gives you all of your focus points back. Sure. And you can, that's just infinite. You can always use that.
Just give you a little bit, just a little bit of juice, a little bit of gas.
Yep. Level 18, Superior Defense. You can expend 3 focus points to gain resistance to all damage except force for 1 minute, or until you're incapacitated.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they get even tankier.
But you said, except when you're incapacitated.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Actually, never mind. I missed my attack. Your turn. Keep it going.
It would have been a 26, but the monk can actually make their AC 27, so would have been a 26 to hit, but that doesn't matter.
So, level 19 is the epic boon thing, and the one that they are suggesting here is boon of irresistible offense. So increase strength or dex by 1 up to a maximum of 30. Next, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage you deal always ignores resistance, which is pretty good. Additionally,
really?
when you roll a 20 on an attack roll, you can deal additional damage equal to the ability score you improved with this feat. So it's a maximum of plus 30 damage
Well,
on a crit.
You would have to get like several points to get up to 30. That would cost you.
But still,
Taran, I'm setting up another joke. You would, but you would have to go through several points. You'd have to go through 10 epic boons if you were maxed out to get there, unless there was something baked into the monk class that boosted your dexterity innately.
Level 20, Body and Mind, increases your dex and whiz scores by 4 each, up to maximum of 25.
Oh, I see. I was not privy to this.
So,
I'm quitting.
but also with that, is that it's inadvertently buffing your AC as well, because it's doing both of them.
I don't think it's inadvertently doing it. I
It's
think
just
it's purposefully
objectively doing
buffing
it. Yes,
It's
It's
doing
advertently, yeah. It's
no.
okay.
Which that is a level 20 feature, so understandably broken. That's for level 20.
Of everything, I'm the most okay with that, honestly.
Yeah, it's a level 20 feature. It should
Yeah.
be busted to
Yeah.
a degree. Yeah.
Most people don't even make it that far.
Yeah.
True.
But yeah,
That
I'm
is
very
adding
happy.
4 to your AC. That's
Yeah.
just a flat plus 4 to your AC, which is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's
this is
Yeah.
probably the biggest buff out of anything that they've released so far.
It's
It is just good.
above and beyond 5e standard.
No, this makes me actually want to play a monk again.
See,
So,
it's doing the same thing it did to
Again.
you, Levi, with the Paladin.
Huh?
Because you wanted to play Paladin after we read Paladin.
Oh,
last
that
time?
was more because like I was initially apprehensive and then I read what some people were saying about it and then I got curious and I was like, maybe I should play it to see if I would like it or not. So then I was like, I want to play it because I want to test the waters. But then I was just informed that we're probably never going to be using this PHB, so it doesn't matter.
Minging.
yeah, I just actually want to play another monk with this rule set, though.
You would probably have a lot better of a time considering
Yes.
the experiences you had in both campaigns where you played monks prior, where you just again, it really did just seem like an
suffer.
abusive relationship the whole time.
It was just suffering.
He would be so happy, guys, when he got a new feature or something, and then next combat, the entire time was just Taran like moaning in pain the whole combat.
This does support largely the idea of doing a 5-15 split. The monk class does. Gets you extra attack, gets you stunning strike, gets you empowered strike. Question is what you would multi-class monk with.
Rogue.
Yeah, you think so?
Actually, it would actually work well
I don't
because
think
you
it
get
would.
Well, yeah, what
well,
does
you
the
get the
rogue
multi-attack
get?
already plus sneak.
But yeah, but that's what do you get for 5 levels of rogue? Is the question.
Oh, I was saying 15 rogue, but if we're doing
That's what I was
15
thinking,
rogue.
yeah.
Actually, yeah, 15 rogue would work fantastic with
Well, I
monk.
don't think it would because they
You wouldn't
cannibalize a
even-
lot of
You
their
wouldn't even want
features.
15 rogue because that. Well, unless you really want proficiency in charisma saving throws.
I
That's
do,
right,
that's
because
why I
that's
have
from
15
wisdom,
levels
that's
of
right.
rogue.
Mhm.
No, you get wisdom and charisma
Oh,
as
okay.
rogue now.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's a level 15, and if you were a monk, it wouldn't matter because you'd already have proficiency in wisdom. So
No, the main thing though is that you get a bunch of extra attacks as a rogue though, with that because you can do flurry of blows.
But you
It's
can't do
fine, but
sneak on
you-
those.
Yeah, you can only do it once per turn. You might as
Once-
well do
once per
fighter. or
But
something.
but since you get those extra attacks, that gives you more opportunities to get sneak.
true.
So that's why I said the same thing
Mhm.
about just might as well do fighter. That's
Yeah, true. You probably would just have better. Well, maybe not.
You
Maybe
get
not
more
better
attacks
output.
though.
You do get more attacks as fighter.
No, you get more attacks as monk. Use flurry of blows.
Unless you get.
Well, yeah,
second
if you're
wind.
using flurry of blows. Does fighter still get 4
Not
attacks in
second
this
wind
one?
action surge.
Do we
Or
know?
at 20, yeah.
At 20? Okay, I couldn't remember.
And monks also get just free bonus action attack.
Mm.
Exactly. It's cannibalizing. Because
Mm.
all the stuff you would get from monk or rogue is the same thing you would get from either monk or rogue. Guess what? You can bonus action dash now. Guess what I was already doing?
I figured it out.
Guess what?
I figured it out.
Yeah.
When they said they wanted to de-incentivize multiclassing, they meant just with rogue.
Real.
Just make all the classes
true.
so
Well, I'll
similar
tell you
it
what they
doesn't
did.
matter.
I'll tell you what they did. They didn't de-incentivize multi-classing with rogue. They de-incentivized classing rogue. Who wants to play
Yeah.
that?
True.
I could just play a monk fighter and have the same fantasy. It'd be
Mhm.
better, honestly.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. I like these changes. Good for monk. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Wasn't talking to you really, but
I'm happy.
Taran is John Monk.
Taran is the monk. Hey, we hope you enjoyed the episode you just listened to. If you really like our content, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on YouTube, and look for us on Spotify. If you'd like to see us continuing to do more fun projects in the future, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can find our page linked in the description above all of our other social media links. And finally, if you'd like to keep up with the zany shenanigans of our lives and check out some more skit-based content and things like that, check us out on Twitter and TikTok, links in the description. And hey, thanks!